Good afternoon, Knicks Nation. Welcome to another edition of Sky Hoops Knicks Dreams. We're going to talk about today Orlando Knicks game that took place 2 days ago or a couple of days ago. Actually,
Monday.
that was on
Monday.
Monday. Yeah, that's right. So that's three days ago. And then of course we're also going to chop it up a little bit today as well in terms of who their next opponent is, which is Golden State tonight at 10 p.m. But starting off with the Orlando game, I want to pass the rock to Bill Stradamus so that he could start us off, give us his rundown, his take on what he thought about the Orlando game.
Orlando game. We started off, and it was real sloppy. It was defensively, or we're a defensive team, so I don't mind those sloppy games. If we come out, as long as the other team ain't scoring, and I noticed I had taken notes, and the score was we were up 13-9 with 4 minutes left in the quarter. So that's goes to show that it was very sloppy, and our defense was in full effect once again. New York went on a little run, which was they scored two more baskets, and I noticed with a little under 3 minutes left, we were up 17-9, and we closed out the quarter 19-13 after one, which is fine by me because that just shows that our identity is starting to show itself and take root and show itself every time we lace them up, and especially in the Garden. Second quarter, Quick came in and he started making us cry again with the teardrops. He was teardropping him to death. Yeah, he had a good quarter, and we played good D. We were up by 9 at the half. Third quarter was very sloppy. It was just a real sloppy quarter. I'm just looking at my notes here. We were up 12 after 3. And in the fourth quarter, he brought back IQ. I noticed immediately, beginning of the fourth quarter at some point, he threw a oop to Obi-Wan, and that started us going. We're up by 14 with a couple of minutes left. Orlando cuts it to 3 with 6.5 left. Then they cut it to 1 because they went on a big run. And then they tied up the score with 1:01 left. It was tied 81-81. Then that's when Randall did his spin, knocked homeboy down, and that, they let him play. So he put us up by 2 with under a minute left. And then RJ made the biggest play of the game because he made a defensive play. He took the ball on some pass and went to Peyton, who was in, who threw it ahead to him, and he went all the way for a layup, which that was kind of surprising. But that turned out to be the biggest play of the game when he went coast to coast, and we ended up winning by 7. Overall, good game, and that's what I expected. I didn't expect them to come back. However, we held on. And we would have folded in previous years. And I see that, like I stated earlier, our defensive mindset and our defensive identity, I believe is now kicking in. Everybody should be on notice. And with that, behind the neck, to the dream.
Dream, fill in the hole for the easy layup. Loving it. So, I equate this game to you take that road trip, you fill up that tank of gas, and about 3 hours into the trip, you're like, I can make it to that next gas station that's 5 miles away. And you only got 2 miles worth of gas, so you sputtering all the way to the end. That's basically how I felt about this game. We just ran out of gas in the fourth, and thank God we had enough left in the tank to carry us over that edge right there, right, to get us in safely. So I agree. In that first quarter, definitely a good start. We only gave up 13 points in the first, and again in the third quarter, we only gave up 16 points. So for the second straight game, we took control of the first and third quarters of the game, which is really becoming a nice staple to what we do on defense. You know, we control those first and third quarters, and you bring in the defense throughout, and now you're making a complete game, 4-quarter game, and now we can play our game until the shooting comes back. Quickly, I'm gonna give him a new nickname for him too. I'm calling him 5 Speed, because that's how I feel. He's like 1, 2, oh, I'm going into 5. Straight into 5th gear, boom, I'm out. You know, like that's last night I was watching him, and that's all that kept popping in my head is how he keeps changing those gears. So I'm calling him 5 Speed for now, right? And I feel like he effectively pushed the ball, pushed the pace of the offense off into easy buckets. It just felt like at his pace, it was just, all of a sudden there's nobody around me. I'm gonna, like you said, teardrop. And then what's happening is that he's starting to get a real feel for his shot because of that.
Yeah.
Now, you know, he started to make some threes in the last couple of games, and I'm starting to see that I was critical of him because I was like, where is the shooting that they keep talking about? And now I'm starting to see it slowly develop, like, you know, implement itself into the game. So that's what I like. As a team, I thought we passed the ball around, which gave us good looks at the basket most of the night. You know, Rivers ineffective on offense and defense again. He's just making mistakes. You know, and he just has to get himself back on track somehow. He started out decent for us. That was nice the first couple games, but as of late, he hasn't really done much. And Knox, I mean, he missed some shots, but at least they were good looks. I mean, you know, at least he's not taking erratic shots and bad shots out of the offense, putting us in bad positions. They were mostly good looks for the night, you know. And with that, I send it back up top to Santana. I'll come back around with more analysis.
Okay, cool. No, we got time to chop it up. You know, I anticipated going into this game. This is one of the key points that I have made, and that was that it was going to be one of these defensive struggles because both Tibbs and Clifford are both cut from the same cloth in terms of their defensive-oriented teams. So I remember saying that during our session the last time. Okay, and also another component that was, you know, that I also anticipated and I also spoke to you guys about, and I made reference to, was the czar of the telestrator, Mike Fratello, and his defensive approach back in the 90s, where it was a slow down game. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what I expected out of this particular game in terms of Orlando. You know, I got to see the first half in real time. I got to see the second half as part of a replay because I had to step out and do some things, so I couldn't see it in real time. But I was listening to it on the radio as I was driving downtown in terms of the second half. So I got a sense of what was going down. And again, I know folks were complaining it was an ugly game and stuff like that. Well, that's what I expect. This is the team that we have to expect, you know, styling and profiling. I know that's, you know, Clyde's way of speaking and announcing the game, and it's a beautiful thing. But they're not styling and profiling. They're more like bump and grind. You know what I mean? This is a bump and grind kind of team. You know, slow it down. Let's slow the pace down, and then pick our spots here and there because they can't sustain constant run and gun type of game. They can't sustain that. Otherwise, they're going to open themselves up defensively. And I saw in the chats that we've had since the game via, you know, online that, you know, we have the number 1 ranked defense in the league.
Yeah, someone put that up there.
Yeah.
You know, so that's saying something because I know I've been on other, you know, shows where a lot of people are frustrated. Well, the pace of the Knicks, this and that, and you know, this is the reason why they're losing. And no, that's the reason why they're winning.
Right.
That's the reason why they're winning. They're playing based on the type of team they have and the type of coach that they have at the moment. And so, in order for them to win, they have to slow it down because they don't have the race horses to run and gun an entire game. Yeah. That will come in time when they get more folks that bring that kind of game to the floor. But until then, this is what it's going to take. This is playoff basketball type of defense. And they're learning that now during the regular season. That has tremendous value because come playoffs, they're going to know how to play slow down basketball. They're going to know how to play that half court defense.
Mhm.
The key that they have to do or focus on is, tightening up their transition defense, because these other young teams, they're going to want to run. They're going to want to run. So you got to know how to fill lanes and be able to slow down other teams to get them into half-court sets so that you could get into the meat and potatoes of your identity, which is defense. Get nasty, having bodies coming at you left and right, contesting shots, anticipating passes in the passing. Those are all the little things that, I know our Knicks fans, they're excited. They're looking forward to them, being more sexy and appealing and styling and profiling. But you could be exciting and lose.
Right.
I'd rather be boring and win.
Right. Right.
You understand? The exciting part, I'll take my dosage of that, but I want to win, not at the expense of winning. Yeah. So with that being said, I'm going to do one of these. I'm going to do around my back. I'm going to go up, under, and then I'm going to do a behind the back pass to my man, Bill Stradamus.
And I'm catching it. Bang! Vince Carter on him. Like Vince Carter over Frederick Weiss.
You stole one of mine. I had that nugget. I was saving that one day. I was saving it for one day. I take that out and I throw it. But that was a good one.
I was online, I want to say last night or whatever, and I happened to see that, and I was like, wow, I had forgotten about that. So I looked at that a time or two. One observation that I made that also, when I look at the overall stats, Knox and OB, they only played 10 and 9 minutes.
Wow.
Knox and OB, 10 and 9 minutes. Now, I wonder if that's due to their defense or some other reason. Or is it just Tibbs loving to play his starters for 50 minutes in a 48-minute game, So that was an observation. Again, I still feel that he should start off with Quick, and he can, because Quick understands when and when not to run, and he can pretty much run the offense. That's just so that we won't fall behind early like we had been. Although the past 2 games that didn't happen to us, we did not fall behind.
Yeah,
they started off well and was able to maintain it. But my thought is, if we start off quickly, I think we're more assured of not starting off from behind. And if somehow the other team gets a jump on us, we can always throw Peyton in to steady the waters, calm everything down, and run that a slower and a more deliberate offense. But overall, I'm happy, and I'm just hoping we can keep it up tonight. We got as we mentioned in the green room, I think Burks is due to return tonight. I still don't know what's going on. What's going on with Frank? Is he's still out?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
He might be. I don't know if one of you guys said it. I think it might have been you, Sanjan. He might be out the door because he's been, he's just not available. Why? You would think that with this new managerial and coaching regime in looking to pick up the culture and everything, that if I'm him, I would do everything in my power to be seen and to make sure that I'm kept around here, unless he wants to go somewhere else. But I don't get it. I don't understand what's wrong with him that he's still unable to play. I mean, even DSJ has been, given a few spot minutes here and there, but Frank is nowhere to be found. So, other than that, I like that. I still like that the defensive presence and pressure that we keep on these opponents throughout the game, and it's not just for a few minutes here and a few minutes there. But I wish that Tibbs would still, cut down RJ. I mean, cut down the Riddler and Randall's minutes, still even a little more. So with that being said, We got a 3-on-1 fast break.
Ooh.
I'm gonna fake it behind. I'm gonna fake it to the dream. Fake it to the dream. Go the other way with the pass to Santana.
And what I'll do is I'll complete the hockey pass to drop it off with a bounce pass.
Oh,
Okay.
the bounce
To the
pass?
dream.
Okay, to the dream.
Okay. I'm feeling extra strong, so I'm gonna spark this net, Sean Kemp style.
Okay.
Right? And
that point at
how
him?
we're gonna do it here. We're gonna make these nets spark. Point it out. You ask them. So, but getting back to these notes, man. Okay, so a couple things we really didn't like from the game, right? So we survived 18% 3-point shooting, 5 for 27. I mean, we're not a great 3-point shooting team, but 18% is going to sink us on most nights.
Yes,
so thank God the defense showed up to, in that game. We missed 10 free throws. That's not good. That's not gonna get it for us either. We're not gonna be 18% 3-point shooting and miss 10 free throws. Now the only thing that saved us is that we shot 34 and made 24, and they made 14 and 16. So we still made more, like 10 more than they shot, even though we missed 10. So that kind of helped us with the difference in the game in the end, especially in that fourth quarter where they just went all Hellcat and then tried to come back on us. That was crazy. Only 8 turnovers in this game. These are good signs that I like. Only 8 turnovers in this game, especially coming off of the last 2 games where we had 17 and 13 respectively. I like the fact that we found a way to cut down on those turnovers in a slowdown game. In a game that was kind of murky and a little bit sloppy and bad shooting, we didn't also turn the ball over.
Right.
To take away from anything, positive that we had going on in the game. We had another game with fast break points. I always throw this out there because I think it's a telling sign of what we're doing in the game. And this is our 3rd straight game, which means they're making an effort to have active hands in the lane and get steals and move around, right? So it's a good sign of an active defense, and obviously that active defense turns into wins for us. We refocused in this game with about 5 minutes left. You already spoke about it, Bill Stradamus, and then Randall with the turnaround and RJ with the late bucket ended up sealing it for us. But with 5 minutes left, this team, Orlando put an onslaught on us, and they even started making some miracle shots.
Yeah, that one, that
Ross, 3 that dropped it. We talked about Ross in the pre-show, and those things came true. Vucevic was effective for them. Gordon was effective for them. Ross came off the bench. He was effective for us. So we knew what they were going to do to us, and they did to us what they do. And we did to them what we do, and we pulled it out in the end. And, and it was nice. We ended up, banking off of that first win. We got the second win. We was able to get some rest, put that behind us, right? And now they can enjoy this 2-game win streak and enjoy it sitting on the dock of the bay. Yeah. And
I like what you did there.
I just spit it off my finger and send it back up top to Santana.
So yeah,
on the dock of the bay.
So I'm glad you brought up the point about the 3-point shooting, because that was something that I know we were talking about in the chat in real time. Is that these cats were shooting threes left and right? I'm like, yo, what's going on? And unfortunately, that's a sign of the times. That's where the NBA game is today. And I'm a big proponent of don't try to be something you're not or someone you're not. If you're not a true blue shooter, don't just shoot threes for the sake of shooting threes and hope that they go in. There's other ways that you could get a better shot. You make the extra pass, you penetrate to the basket, you draw a double team if you're low posting or something to that effect, and then somebody else will be open. Let's focus on the mid-range shot. So much so I had to go back to the archives. I had to go back to my man, baseline jump shot from the Bernard King. You know what I'm saying? This cat, okay, and I bought his book again. Because there's an area in the appendix that talks about 9 spots on the left block, 9 spots on the right block, and 4 spots in the 3-point, beyond the 3-point shooting line. And what he would do is he had those spots dedicated. Most of those 9 spots on each side of the block were mid-range shots. This cat was unstoppable. I mean, Dream, you're too young, but if you look at the footage, because a lot of highlight packages just show you, the best of a player.
Right.
Bernard King was highlights to the infinity power every single game.
And
he was bringing.
He was a weapon where other teams, remember that series where we were in the playoffs against Boston, and they were talking before because they knew it was coming. They was like, well, he ain't going to be dropping 40 on us. And he averaged 40 on them.
Okay. But the cat has a systematic approach to scoring.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He said he go into that court and he had a certain way of looking at it and breaking it down. And for every position that he had a shot, if you had a counter for him, he had a counter for your counter. That's why he was unstoppable, man. That guy, these Knicks, they need to hire this cat or go to meet with him like other teams do with Akeem Olajuwon, low post players. They go and learn from Akeem. They need to learn the mid-range game from Bernard King. And they're going to learn a lot. Knox, number one. Obi, another one.
Yeah, Obi
another one.
Yeah.
Mitchell, another one.
Yeah.
And now I'm sounding like this DJ another one.
And another one.
Another one. Yo, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm sounding like this cat. Another one.
Dude was unreal. He was my favorite Knick of all time. Is Bernard King.
Nice.
He is my favorite Knick still to this day.
That's what I'm saying. Still to this day.
As a matter of fact, I think I sent you guys an email with a clip, a 5-minute clip. Yeah. Okay. And he's talking about a little bit of the full scope of his book and stuff like that and how he approached scoring. And that's something that, man, I'm going to be blasting that throughout. Get Bernard King in here, or at least have these players connect with Bernard King and get him to get them to understand how to be effective in the mid-range game. Because that's a lost art in this NBA. That's a gap that people are not taking advantage of because they focus on the three. I understand the analytics, but I'm old school.
Yeah.
I'm old school. Unless you have shooters like that that's going to hit your threes at a 37% clip, then, we're going to work the mid-range and the traditional three going to the basket and getting to the free throw line and playing solid D. That's how you counter that stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
And he was feared. Go ahead.
Does because I didn't see his game day in and day out. How does his game compare to a person like Kawhi Leonard? Is it similar where he's systematic, because Kawhi is systematic in his approach also, where he takes advantage of the mid-range, backing you down, getting
his mid-range game was better than Kawhi. His mid-range game was better than Kawhi's.
Okay.
He was a feared scorer. Like every opponent, they feared him. They would have double teams, triple teams, and he would find a way around it. He knew how to counter whatever the defenses threw at him.
Okay.
Awesome. He was able to counter it. And like I said, he was feared so much that anytime the Knicks played anyone, and he was carrying some pretty bad teams. Like we didn't have other pieces. Like we didn't have Ewing. And that was one thing that I regret, that they got rid of him when Ewing came on. That year is when he had this big injury, and then he took the whole year to rehab. And then when he came back, they still never had him and Ewing play together. If he would have stayed with the Knicks, because they let him go, and he ended up being, I think, comeback player of the year and led the league in scoring when they let him go.
Yeah.
So I wish they would have kept him, and had they kept him, we may have gotten a ring. We may have gotten a ring.
And to further elaborate on your question in terms of how does he compare to Kawhi, he was more explosive than Kawhi and more consistent.
Right.
Because he wasn't dropping 20 or 30. He's dropping 40 and 50 on you.
50, 60.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Literally, he was carrying the team. Regular season, playoffs. He was the guy. There was no stopping him.
They used to look at his face. He had a face. They used to call it the game face. They go, Bernard King, he got the game face on, so look out. That's all the commentators used to say. Oh, he got the game face on. He used to have a scowl. Like, he'd be all friendly and nice and everything. But soon as he stepped on that court, he's not friendly. He barely even talking to his own teammates. It was like, listen, this is what we got to do. Get me the ball, and we're gonna win. And that was seemingly his attitude.
Listen, on that video clip, I don't think you guys got the extended version, but there's an extended version, and in that extended version, they interviewed his brother Albert King, who used to play for the New Jersey Nets at that time, and he said even when he played against him, he wouldn't talk to him because Bernard would have that game face, and Bernard's position was he couldn't play the game with a smile. That's the way that he psychologically prepared himself to go on the court to take care of business. And brother, that man made an impact. I mean, you don't want to mess with Bernard. Nobody, there's no player out there, whether it's Dominique, Dr. J, Michael Jordan.
Listen, speaking of that, I'm sorry to cut you off. I was at a game. It was a preseason game at the Garden, and I believe it was somewhere around the third quarter. It turned into Michael Jordan versus Bernard King. They were the only ones scoring for their respective teams. They went back and forth for practically the whole quarter. Bernard ended the game with, like I said, it was a preseason game. I think Bernard ended the game with 28-30, and Mike had either 26-20. I know he outscored Mike by a bucket or two, but that was some excitement there. And also in that game, Michael had a fast break and did the little cradle dunk.
Oh, yeah.
That was, that particular game. It was a preseason game. I want to say maybe 85, 86 or something like that. And I held on to that because after that, you've never really seen anybody give Mike a problem. He was a problem to any and everybody.
Let me just tell you the names of the people that he laced. Okay.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Isaiah Thomas, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, Dr. J, Dominique Wilkins,
Kevin McHale.
It didn't matter.
Cornbread Maxwell. Wasn't he the one that said, what did he say? That B ain't going to score no 40 points on us.
Yeah.
He was like, okay, no, I won't. I'll score 45.
The good thing is they got a movie coming out. That is being, I guess, directed or executive produced by, what's his name? He's one of these comedians, Ben Stiller, I think.
Oh, okay.
Producing it. So I'm definitely going to look at that because, I like to get behind the scenes type of stuff that you're probably going to get in this movie. I mean, he's done one before, but this one is going to be more current. This cat was the real deal. So again, I raise him because when I see the Knicks right now, I don't want them to just settle for three and low posts. Okay, they do have Julius. Julius does hit the mid range,
right?
But he's doing so much, and him alone is not enough. You need other guys to be able to step up in that mid range, area and be able to be consistent. Because then that'll make it that much harder to defend them. You know what I mean? Right now, if I'm playing against the Knicks, I'm gonna sag, double down off the 3-point line, and I'm gonna wait till they start hitting that, or I'm gonna play up on them, but I don't want to give them a chance to beat me off the dribble. So I'm gonna sag and double down or play zone. So I'm not gonna say any more on that because we got to transition. It's already halfway, half hour in. Let's transition into tonight's game against Golden State. And Mr. Bill, I'm gonna give you a nice little bounce pass so you could take it from there. Give us your take on Golden State.
Okay, Golden State is rolling right about now. They had a game last night, I believe. They beat the Spurs by 20 plus points, and they had another good outing from the chef Steph, and who else had a pretty decent game? Who's the small forward from Canada? Wiggins had a decent game, and so did Oubre. Now, with Golden State now. Their prowess from three and their overall offense. So they're scoring, However, their defense is not as, it leaves a lot to be desired, their defense. And with that said, this will be another test for us to do what we do. They do what they do, and let's see who comes out on top. Because with them, I don't think they have an answer for Julius. I don't think Draymond will make it a little harder for him, but they're still going to have to throw. They're going to have to be throwing double teams at Julius Randle. Draymond Green, I don't think he can guard him one-on-one. I mean, he can, he'll have spurts where he makes good plays.
Yeah.
But for if Tibbs plays Julius 50 minutes like he always does, and they're not going to be able to do anything with him.
Yeah.
Now, with regard to Steph Curry, it's not much you can do if he's on. So the thing is, if he's we got to try to find out early if he's on from outside, then cause him to have to drive. If he comes out just driving, then we maybe push him out there and make him earn it from downtown. I saw an article but didn't read it. I was breezing through articles where Quickly said he's looking forward to this, to going up against Steph. So I'm sure that Tibbs is going to give him a chance to get in there against Steph, and let's see what he got. And basically, I'm looking for us to play well, and if we play well enough to where it's just Curry getting off, then we can get that. That's how I'm looking at it. So with that being said, let me go behind the back, then through the legs behind me to the dream.
All right. I'm just going to teardrop it real nice and smooth, real high. Let everybody try to extend and get to it. I'm not going to get it. So after 2 wins and feeling ourselves, I'm going to say the Knicks are leaning into this one and saying, Warriors, come out and play. Okay, so we get a return of Alec Burks tonight. Hopefully he's in some kind of shape. He got some legs underneath him. We talked earlier about it. He's definitely a person who's used to shooting in that gym. He got a chance to shoot in that gym last year, at least, and for our offense, he's a shot in the arm that much needed as far as the shooting is, you know what I'm saying? So the Golden State offense, we already know, runs through Curry and Green. Curry is like 3rd in the league, 28 or 2nd maybe, in the league in scoring. I'm not really worried about that too much because we face teams that have high potency scorers and still found a way to come out with a win. So like you said, we play our game versus they play their game. It should be close enough where we can be effective in the 4th quarter and win. I know they're on a run lately. They've won a bunch of games by a bunch of points, and they're on a roll scoring. But a game that I look back to not so long ago, I want to say maybe even just a week ago, that they did lose was to Indiana, and Indiana held them underneath 100 points. They held them to like 96 or 97. And basically, I was looking at the entire game, and Indiana kind of gave them the game plan that we would give them. Control. Don't let these, the scores blow off for like 50. But Curry can go for 30. I think he went for like 20 something in that game against Indiana. The team scored under 30 in the first 2 quarters, and then 20 and under the last 2 quarters. So if we can do something similar where we get them 2 quarters around 20 and 2 quarters around 30, then we can be in a game with them, points wise. If we bring what we bring. As far as most motivational factors, the Riddler. Here we are. This is your Eric Pascal game, my man. So let's show up. Let's do what we do and prove to people, because this is one of the guys on that list.
Yep.
You were supposed to have that spot. Okay? So this is your game tonight. Be consistent. You've given us what we wanted, a little bit more efficiency, and a higher point output. So you're getting around the 20s, you're rebounding at a decent clip, and you're being efficient. Beautiful. Just keep that up. The other motivational matchup, Robinson versus Weissman. Because I'll tell you what, this young boy is a beast, and he's going to body Robinson, and he's not going to play games with him. This guy coming in real strong.
I like his game, too.
A 5-year vet, body and everything. He's chilled. So, you know, and the last couple of games, he's getting more of his offense off. He scored like 20 last night also.
Right, yeah, 20.
You know, so coming off back-to-back for Golden State, yeah, they beat the Lakers and they, you know, beat up this team yesterday. But last night, a couple of guys, this might work in our favor, that played 30-plus minutes. Curry, Oubre, and Wiggins all played 30-plus minutes. And Green and Weissman was like 25-plus or something like that. So they all did run a lot, and they, you know, and they basically, just those three, Curry, Oubre, and Wiggins, got off last night for 60 points, 27 rebounds, and 10 assists. Good. So out of those three players, that was high output. So I'm hoping there's a little bring it back to the pack kind of, you know what I'm saying, for some of those guys. If Curry wants to keep that up, that's fine, you know. But, you know, I'll come back around for a score. But, you know, I feel okay about this game. I feel like we got the rest at the right time. We're getting a shooter back at the right time for the right team. And, you know, and maybe this back-to-back works in our favor. And we'll see how it goes. I'm just going to bounce it real high, real hard off the ground, though. And that's going to turn into my lob for Santana.
So, yeah. So, you know, I mean, you know, Golden State, you know, they have a nice team. You know, of course, they're finding themselves. I mean, obviously, we know Curry knows his game and he knows the system. And Green knows the system and stuff like that. It's these other guys that have been added to the squad that need to really get up to speed with the system. But like you said, you know, that center, that rookie center that they got, he's the real deal. Yes, you know, and he still hasn't learned the NBA game. But raw talent and the size and skill level, Robinson's going to have his hands full tonight. Yeah. He really is. He really is, because that kid got more body. He got more weight than Robinson does.
He's not going to try to finesse him.
And he's athletic too. He's still just as athletic.
Exactly. So, you know, that's something that you know, is going to be an interesting matchup to look at. You know, Wiggins, I mean, he's an experienced player. He's played before, but then, you know, the counterpoint to that is Tibbs. Tibbs also knows his game. So he may be able to take away, whoever's going to defend him, he may be able to take away some of his strengths if he hasn't evolved his game. Yeah. Oubre is the wild card here, because that cat can score. Yeah, he can literally score. So it's just a question of whether he's on a given night.
Right.
But he has the green light to jack it up.
Yeah. And he has confidence too.
Yeah. So
he got as much confidence as Curry has.
Exactly. Yeah, he's very, very, very confident, very full of himself. So that's going to be a very interesting matchup there, because it's a matter of what he does and who defends him. The other guy that you also have to watch for is Bazemore. Bazemore, okay, because he's another experienced guy. He could light it up too. Not at the clip of Oubre, but he could light it up. When he was in Atlanta, he was feeling himself to the point that he was talking smack to LeBron at one point. I'm not saying that he's at that level, but again, basketball is about confidence. And if these guys start gaining confidence and they're playing with a guy like Curry who could just, you know, blow it up, you know, that's something to worry about. Of course, Green, you know, Green is you know, he's all world on that team. He's going to be the utility knife. He's going to do whatever it takes to try to win. And that's the X factor. So that's what he brings to the table. Now, in terms of our Knicks, obviously, you know, like I said, Tibbs knows this cat, Wiggins, who used to play for him. So he knows his strengths and weaknesses. I believe that, you know, Tibbs knows, obviously, we're a defensive team. The way we're going to win is we got to bring it to the defensive level. You're not going to try to outscore Golden State, even though they don't have a Klay Thompson, because you know that Curry can score, and you know that some of these other guys that I just mentioned have the potential to score. Wiggins could be a scorer. Oubre is a scorer. You know what I mean? It's just a question of whether they are. And then Draymond, he's not a scorer, but he's very impactful in terms of making the extra pass, putting people in a position to get an easy bucket and stuff like that. So we're going to have our hands full. I just hope that the Knicks, because they had a few days off since Monday to really get into a game plan, that they're gonna go in out there and execute. Because their calling card, their claim to victory is gonna be shutting this team down defensively, getting them to play a defensive game. And that if they do get any shots off, they're gonna have to work.
Right.
So that by the time they get to the fourth quarter, they got nothing left in the tank. You know what I mean? The key is how they chase around Stephon Curry. Because Curry is great moving without the ball. I remember when I saw him in the playoffs and I was looking at his method, and what he was doing was figure eights.
Right.
Figure eights to get himself open. And it was tremendously effective. So that's one of the methods that they use. The other methods that they also use is they do a lot of split action as well. Boston does that, but Boston took a page out of Golden State book when Golden State was in their dynasty days. They did a lot of split action and backdoor you every now and then. Now I don't know if these new guys can do that, but because it's not Klay Thompson, it's not it's not the core guys that knew how to play that system. But that figure eight, I do expect to see that, and that's going to be interesting to see how the Knicks defend that. So with that said, I'm gonna do a nice little pocket pass for Mr. Bistradamus, and you guys go ahead, take it away.
Right. Now I'm looking at the injury report for the Knicks. Alec Burks is probable. Frank Ntilikina is doubtful with the knee, and Austin Rivers is doubtful with an Achilles issue. For the Warriors, Andrew Wiggins with a knee is questionable.
Okay.
So, I hope Burks I hope Burks plays, and I hope that Tibbs gets him some meaningful minutes. Don't put him out there for just 5 minutes. He misses 2 shots, and then you have him sitting on the bench for the rest of the game. Let him work his way into some type of
game shape
or consistency. Like don't penalize him if he goes out there and messes up early. Dude hasn't played in a few weeks. So, and I don't know how much practice time he has had, coming back. So, give him some minutes, and give Knox and Obi, give them a little more minutes too. I think you're gonna have to tonight.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to. You can't play these guys for 40 minutes and expect them to run around and chasing Oubre and Steph around these figure eights and all of that stuff. You can't do that. So you're gonna have to play. You're gonna have to play Randall for 40 minutes as opposed to 50. You're gonna have to bring down his minutes as well as the Riddler's minutes, and let Obi one and Knox, Burks, and whoever else. Let these other guys get some burn. Might have to even use Taj tonight. You might have to give him a little run out there. But I think we, as one of you pointed out, if we can keep it tight, we do what we do, and we'll have a chance at the end of the game, which is what Henry 2.0 always says. If we're close with 4 minutes left, we got a chance. That's all we can ask for, and that's how I feel about this game. And with that, simple pass, chest pass, down to the Dream.
Right. Quick T. Let's get ourselves together over here. So, huddle up over here. So we know what we want to do to this team, right? We want to slow them down as much as possible. Some of their guys are going to get off because they're just pure scorers, and a lot of the guys that they added are just athletes. So we have athletes. We have guys that can hit shots sometimes. We don't have a Curry, but all the rest of the guys we got. We have a better version of Green, which is Randall for us, right? I think he's a better player all around. He can pass just as much. He can rebound a little bit better, and he can definitely score better. So I think some of the things they'll have to do to us will take away from what they do normally too. I agree this is not a normal Golden State system this year or even last year that we're used to seeing or have seen, whatever, years 16 through 19, right? So the concept that they want to run that's all it is. It's just a concept. They don't really have the horses to run it as efficiently as they were. They're not a machine the way they were. They're still have the big bad, warrior stigma to them, but not so much in the team. Like, there's areas you can attack this team and play that to your benefit. Whereas before they were always putting you in an awkward position, like always had you off balance. But you can get to this team in certain areas, So rebounding is one. If we rebound the way we rebound, if we play defense the way we play defense, and we have recently, then we should be okay. The rest of the guys, like I said, it's a crapshoot on our end. What are we going to get from the Riddler today? So if he's effective and he's efficient, then we know what are we going to get from 5-speed. You know what I mean? So I'm not worried about his matchup because he's got energy. He goes up and down the floor fast. That's fine. If Curry is too much for him in the matchup, then I'll play him against the backup guard. It's no problem.
Yeah.
He'll, that's fine. We have to make up our points wherever we can make them up with this team. We're going to hope that they come in cold after shooting crazy yesterday and blowing out this team after shooting crazy, what was it, Friday or Saturday or something like that against the Lakers, and they ended up pulling that game out. They were down by a bunch of points. I ended up watching that game. So they were down by a bunch of points, 14 or something in the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden they came right back with all the shooting. So I'm hoping that shooting plus all the minutes played yesterday equals a little bit, offense is a little dimmed down a little bit for them, they're due for a bad shooting game. So hopefully we bring our defense and force that out of them, a bad shooting game. Aside from that, I like what we've been doing lately. And like I said before, the Burks edition, I think, helps us today. I agree. Hopefully Tibbs is in the mindset of letting him just go out there, get his feet wet, let him get his legs underneath him. And even with that, I hope he brings a little bit of his shooting hasn't died off. He doesn't come in cold. He's been, even if he hasn't been fully healthy, that he's just going out and shooting around and staying sharp that way, because that will definitely have an influence on how this turns out for us. Score-wise, I think we continue this win streak. And so I think we keep the Warriors under 30 the first two quarters, and in the second half of the game, we keep them under 25 points per quarter. And if we even get under 20 point one of those quarters where they have a bad quarter, I think we keep them to 108, and the Knicks come in with a little bit of infusing offense, 115, 108 Knicks.
Okay.
All right.
So let me jump in here.
You guys are waiting for the pass, I know, but I was on a timeout, so I don't know. Right there. Who am I throwing the ball to? Who's open? Who's open? I got you. Go.
So, the matchup, and you guys talked about it. I didn't really talk about it in my last opportunity to speak, and that is obviously Curry and Quickly, and obviously old school versus new school. And the old school guy has a couple of tricks in his bag. So that's where I think Quickly has to be careful. I know Quickly is got a few little tools in his box as well, but he's not going to get those calls against Steph.
Right,
he's not going to get those calls. Okay. And he has to be equally that much more disciplined on defense because Steph will make him go through picks, run him into picks, shoot a three, drop his leg out, get fouled, make that 3-point play, a 4-point play. So those are the tricks of the trade from the veteran. So he's got to be careful. But if he's going to get into foul trouble, like you just said, Dream, instead of having him defending Curry, I'll have him defending the shooting guard, who's not going to be as much of a threat, in terms of foul as Curry is. That being said, the Knicks, they have an opportunity to steal this, to steal it, because Golden State still hasn't been. I mean, they're playing better than I expected. Believe it or not, they are playing better than I expected. And so as a result of that, I'm not going to underestimate them. But I do feel if the Knicks play the kind of defense that they need to play, they've had 3 days to game plan for this particular game.
Right.
And I believe that Tibbs is going to try to really make an impression on this team. Look, this is the way you win these games. When you have that many days to prepare for a team, it's not coming off a back-to-back. It's not coming 1 day off, 1 day on. It's coming off of 2-3 days off. So that gave you enough time to go into the film room and break down this team and also go out there and execute and tighten up your defense. I think if there's an opportunity for them to steal a game, this is the game of all the games that they got coming up, because the other games will be a day after or something like that, and the competition is getting better as they move on in this road trip. So if I'm Tibbs, I'm putting a lot of pressure internally, not to the media, internally to my players. Say, this is a must-win game. This is a must-win game because of all those dynamics. What we got coming up ahead of us. Also, this team is still in the process of finding the rhythm and finding themselves.
Yeah.
So that being said, I'm going to say Knicks 110, the Warriors 100.
Okay.
And Mr. Bill, I'm going to pass it to you. You're going to give us a score and you're going to close us out.
All right. Now, I agree with what you said with regard to this being a game that we can get and should get, especially based on all of the things that you pointed out and the fact that these dudes just played last night. And they had a good outing last night. So we have to decide whether we're going to jump on them or if they still got something left in the tank, are we just going to outlast them? But I think that we should take the approach to jump on these bros right away and hopefully have them down by 15 or so by the half and then let our defense carry us for the second half. And then I agree with what Dream is saying. We have to be cognizant of what they're scoring every quarter and have certain goals set. Like, let's keep them under 30 points. Let's try to keep them under 30 points every quarter. But in this case, say if the first quarter they jump out over 30. Well, then in the second quarter, let's try to keep them under 20.
Yep. Yeah.
That should be we should have certain goals set, and we should attack them as well. See, we do have to look out for their offense because they have an explosive offense. They have a system and all of that. However, we should go right back at Steph, make him play some defense, make Draymond be so busy with Randall that he's not able to do as much offensively as he normally is able to do, to where it's going to be a little harder for them to run the offense through him, because he knows that in a few seconds he's going to be on top. He's going to have to guard Julius Randle, and Julius Randle is not going to let up on him. Julius Randle should attack him and attack him often. Maybe throw him out of his game. Maybe get him to commit some bad fouls and frustrate him and get a tech or two. If we can do that, I think our chances are really good. And I think that our defense is coming around now. I appreciate the fact that that Burks is coming back. And again, we just hope that he comes in, and if this stroke is on and we can still play that defense, I think we can beat these guys and keep them under 100. So I'm predicting, I think it's going to be a close game though, but I'm predicting New York wins this one 101-96. A close game where we shut down their offense in the last three or so minutes. And with that being said, at some point, okay, I'm gonna reach out to Henry to get his score, and I'll reach out to Bugsy to get their score. But with that being said, we would like for you guys to subscribe and get on every game day. Listen to our 2 cents. Put in your 2 cents in the comments. but subscribe, give us some likes, tell your friends about us, and remember, in the words of Henry 2.0, once a Knick,
Always.
a Knick. I don't want to leave right there. I want 10 seconds of hate. I want 10 seconds of hate. I'm hating on Brooklyn. Did you see them? Did you see their big three get smacked around by Carlos Sexton yesterday? Carlos Sexton looked like Steph Curry out there against all of them. Kyrie came back, scored 37 points, Durant 38 points, Harden a triple-double, and they lost to a guy with as much hair as the fro that they gave away.
Crazy.
And I'm hating on. That's my move. 10 seconds of hate for Brooklyn.
10 seconds of hate.
10 seconds of hate.
That's a new segment. We're gonna pick this up in the next episode so that we could talk about that, because there's no excuse. And I don't want to add to it because you said it best, man. Said it best.
All right, folks.
All right,
again,
fellas.
All right.
Thank you for your support, and we would like you to continue to support us. And once again, once a Knick,
Always
a Knick.